What's up everyone? Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Emmeline Jade and I'm currently training for my first triathlon, which is going to be the 70.3 distance. And if you're not familiar with 70.3, this is a triathlon that has 1.9K of swimming, 90 kilometers of cycling, then finishing off with a half marathon, which is 21.1 kilometers. So that being said, let's take a look at how this past week went. So if we take a look at this week, the week of Monday, April 8th to Sunday, April 14th, it says here that I had 100% compliance of my workouts, which is great. However, there was a little bit of a glitch because I usually swim 3 times a week and I wanted to switch around some workouts and push my main swim, which is my longer swim session, from Wednesday to Sunday actually before my long run. However, I don't know what happened. I was like switching it around on my phone and then it just disappeared. And I know for a fact I didn't delete it because typically if you try to delete something, it'll ask you, are you sure you want to delete the workout? So I don't know what happened and I was like, you know what? It is a down week, so I can probably do without another swim session. So technically it wasn't 100%, but you know, whatever. You move on to the next. But the total distance of each discipline was 3,200 meters of swimming, 90 kilometers of biking, and then 28 kilometers of running. And I'm pretty happy with how consistent I've been seeing that I don't have a coach. This is the first time in a while that I'm actually training for something that I think is a really big challenge for me with no coach, and I'm just solely relying on this MOTTIV app. But that being said, I do really enjoy using this app. I think the main reason that I love it is the fact that, you know, you can kind of somewhat personalize it based on your recent race times. It does give you some time trials for swimming and, you know, your FTP test as well as running. So that way the pacing and the power output is pretty accurate in terms of your training zones and predicted race times. What I also really like, which is also a double-edged sword, is the fact that it is flexible in terms of moving around your workouts. And because of the fact that some days I am not motivated, I'll probably switch around some workouts. And next thing you know, I'm overloading the latter part of the week with a bunch of workouts, whereas the earlier half is kind of like just pretty light. So sometimes my weeks aren't as balanced as it should be. So that's like the one thing to look out for if you keep switching your workouts around. I mean, I've seen an improvement in my swimming, my running, and my biking. The only thing that I do find that hasn't really worked for me is the nutrition that it suggests to take before a workout and during the workout. It does suggest how much carbs to take pre-workout, but it doesn't necessarily tell you how much carbs to take during the workout. It kind of tells you calories, and I find that calories isn't the most accurate. I go by carbs in terms of, you know, how much energy you need to fuel. So there have been some other resources that I have to lean on when it comes to planning out your nutrition. The other thing that I actually don't follow as much, which I did before at the start of this, is the strength sessions. I don't know, it's just not my cup of tea. Some people really love it. The app that I use for my strength workouts is the Dynamic Triathlete app, and the workouts there are very like preventative focused and more about like physio exercises, making sure you're correcting any imbalances between the left and the right side, and so on and so forth. So that's something that I wanted to focus on going into this. Whereas the one here, there's a lot of like kettlebell exercises, and I think some people love it because it does mix mobility and strength together. But yeah, I don't know, it's just not my thing. So I decided to forego the strength and just kind of do my own thing with that. But in terms of like the prescribed workouts for like all 3 disciplines, so far so good. I have no complaints. So I'm just going to keep using it until race day and just see how everything unfolds. The main benefit of this is the fact that it's affordable, it's somewhat personalized, and it's flexible. The only thing that you need to make sure you stay on top of is being disciplined and consistent, because, you know, what's the point of a plan if you don't follow it thoroughly? So that's the main thing to look out for, and I think that's one of the benefits of having a coach is the accountability factor. But thankfully I have a few training partners and friends that I can lean on to help keep me accountable. So yeah, that being said, let's dive deep into how this week went. Good morning. It is a new week of training and I cannot believe we've only got 7 weeks left until race day. Like, I still remember when I was like, oh, I've still got lots of time. I've got like 20 to 30 weeks and now it's less than 10. Like, holy crap, where has the time gone? As you can see, I just finished a swim workout this morning. I was supposed to do it yesterday, but after like the big weekend that I had, I was like, I deserve a full rest day of not doing anything. And I just spent the day resetting my home, aka finishing all the laundry, because that was just a mountain of clothes. So today is another triple session day, starting in the morning with a swim, and then later today I've got a brick workout. Thank goodness it is deload week, so the volume is on the lower end. Last week, I believe, was the last peak week for cycling. I'm not sure what the other weeks are gonna look like. I do know that the peak of running is still to come, but I'm loving the shorter sessions right now, especially swimming, because sometimes it just feels like you're there forever. So now I'm just gonna drive home, have some breakfast, shower, and you know, the usual 9 to 5. Oh, there you go.
Sorry.
Bye.
Bye. Enjoy your run. Can we close this?
Thanks. Will it be too hot?
Okay.
Yeah, leave it open.
Can we open this?
Oh, yeah, thanks.
You're gonna want all the aircon.
Yeah. It is hot today. Let's get this started. Oh, the bike is too far from the desk. Got it. Time to get this 30-minute run over and done with. Brick session done and dusted, and oh my god, it is such a beautiful day. It's sunny, it's not too cold, the wind was just right. It was just the perfect end to today's workout. It took like every ounce of energy for me to get ready because I am just not looking forward to this run. And typically on Wednesdays I have a speed workout, but since it's down week, it's actually just a 45-minute easy effort run. But for some reason, I just can't get myself to do it. I mean, thankfully it is a nice day outside. It's supposed to be 14 degrees Celsius. And what I love about the run is the fact that it's timed and I don't have to go by distance. So this really just gets me to go slow to kill time essentially. But yeah, I'm just gonna try and just like appreciate my run. I always get into this like mindset of not wanting to run, but I gotta tell myself, hey, like the fact that I get to run is a blessing, so just appreciate it. It doesn't look too windy outside, so I'm actually just gonna wear this tank top that I got from a running store, actually called Running Room, and then these like pretty old shorts that I should probably replace soon. But I love it because it is long and they're like biker shorts, so I don't have to chafe in between the thighs here. And then I'm just gonna run in my everyday running shoes, which are the Ride 17s. So yeah, I'm just gonna put these shoes on and hopefully it'll be a good run. It's been a while since I practiced on some hills, so it's time to go on the little hills that we have here in the neighborhood. So Ironman doesn't allow you to listen to music or wear headphones during the race. So I've been practicing trying to run and bike without the use of headphones, and some days it's okay. Most days it's really hard, but today I don't mind it because it's a beautiful day and I'm just trying to enjoy the outdoors. Kian just ran past me. He's doing his speed workout and I'm not jealous. There he is. Just like that, 45-minute run, done and dusted. Needed a little bit of motivation to get me to the gym. Thanks for coming. I can't believe I did it. I managed to hit 100% of my workouts today. I managed to do my steady bike ride and do my strength. I would have to admit doing strength was a bit more difficult. The motivation was just not there. But thank goodness Kian encouraged me and was like, you know what, let's just go down together. So the workout for the steady ride was in total 60 minutes. It was 10 minutes of warm up, and then the main set was 12 minutes just above target race power at a low cadence of 60 to 70 RPM. And then I had to repeat this 3 times with 3 minutes of easy spinning in between, and then a 5-minute cool down. What I am pretty stoked about is the fact that my target race power is getting a bit more comfortable now that I'm adjusting to my new FTP, because after my FTP test, I obviously had new ranges and it was a lot. It was definitely hard to get used to, but after some time now, I think it's been maybe a month, I'm definitely settling into my target race power. Now the question is whether or not it can translate to the outdoors, because there's obviously a lot more external elements like the weather, the wind, and just the terrain overall. So it's definitely going to be different in terms of what I can do on the trainer versus what I can do outside.
Seriously, why are you in the scream costume?
It's my cozy post-swim. So that breakfast was much needed. It was so good and so filling. Because it is a down week, the session today was on the shorter end. So it was about like 40 minutes total. Moving time was about 30 minutes. The first main set was 400 at 85% effort. And guys, I don't know what happened, but I felt like I was in such a good rhythm that I actually hit my first sub 2-minute pace per 100 meters in this set. And I was like, what? This is so crazy. Overall, this was one of my better swim sessions, so I'm pretty happy with that. And so that concludes today's workout. I think the plan for today is just to reset everything and get ready for my long ride tomorrow, because I want to make sure I stay organized and stay on top of like my nutrition and hydration plan rather than trying to feel all frazzled the morning of. So I've got some plans this evening. So I'm trying to prep for my bike ride tomorrow, and I'm super excited because I finally got this like little bento box thing. I think that's what it's called, to store like my gels. So I'm gonna put this on top of my frame. I have been finding it difficult to figure out the whole like, where do I store all my gels? Like there's only so much I could fit in my pockets, and I'm still not confident of like reaching back there, especially if I have a jacket over top my jersey. So I'm hoping that this will help store my gels, and then if I need more storage, I can use my back pockets. And if you're in Vancouver, I actually got this from Tri Boutique. So I'm gonna install this on the top of my frame here and then test it out with the gels. I'm hoping that this aligns with the 2 screws that I have on here. If it doesn't, well then I guess I can't use this. There are like 2 bolt thingies on my frame. Let me just zoom in here. One here and one here, and this bento box has like 2 holes, so I'm hoping that these fit into either of these holes, so that way I can just attach it here. It looks like it does. My toxic trait is never reading the instructions before installing anything, but I got the instructions, so it says I have to use the screws that it came with because it does have a washer, so I gotta make sure that's attached. Okay, seems easy enough. So seems pretty secure. And then yeah, it says I can fit about 6 gels in here, so hopefully I can do that. But the last thing I need to double check is to see if I can turn my handlebars entirely to the left and to the right to make sure this isn't in the way. Okay, it looks good. Perfect. Okay, so I think we're good to go for the bento box. I'm just gonna take out the axle that I used for my trainer and put in the one that came with this bike so that I can use it out on the road. And then I'm gonna get my fuel and hydration ready for tomorrow's ride. I just planned out my nutrition plan for tomorrow, and taking a look at tomorrow's weather and the intensity and effort that I'm putting into tomorrow's ride, I'm gonna stick to 2 bottles of 500 milliliters of water, and I'm gonna add 2 tablets of Noon. And then hopefully that'll give me enough sodium. I won't need much because it is on the colder end tomorrow, and I'm only riding at zone 2 effort, so it's going to be a fairly easy ride all throughout, so I'm likely not going to need too much water. And then in terms of what I'm eating, I'm going to stick to practicing with gels and anything that I plan to eat during race day, making sure that there's no issues with my stomach, because I am also still going to be running after tomorrow's ride, so I want to make sure that it all sits well with me during the run. Even though it's going to be 25 minutes, I still want to get as much practice as I can. So that being said, every half hour I do plan to eat something. So I'm going to start with this NutriBar. This has 25 grams of carbs, and then the next half hour I'm going to be eating the Morton gels, and this is the 160, which has 40 grams of carbs. So I'm hoping to complement this with some pretzels throughout it. So this is going to be in my little bento box. The reason why I chose pretzels is because I get so sick of all the sweet stuff, which wasn't the case when I was training for my marathon, but because 70.3 training is just a lot more volume, it's a lot longer, I get sick of all the sweets and stuff. So I want to break it up with something savory, and the fact that this has high in salt is going to help absorb more water. I'm hoping that throughout the ride I'll be able to finish this bag. This will average around 65 grams per hour. We'll see during my run whether or not I will bonk. If I've got the energy, great. If not, then I'm going to have to iterate and improve for next week's ride. It's long ride day. We're now onto the brick run, and I gotta run this at race pace. Oh my gosh, finally a successful big brick session. Now, to be fair, today's bike ride was shorter than typical, and it was 2.5 hours long. So Montana and I decided to ride towards North Vancouver, hoping that we would get over the Second Narrows Bridge. We managed to fit in 36 kilometers with an elevation gain of 421 meters. We didn't take into account the route that we took just had so many intersections, and we were stopping all the time, and there's so many pedestrians. We were dodging people. We had to stop at like every red light. We didn't manage to get over the bridge to get to North Van, so we'll likely save that trip for sometime in the future. We also realized that we probably haven't been fueling the past couple of rides, just because during our ride we were like, okay, let's make sure we stay on top of our nutrition, and it honestly felt like we were just eating the entire time. We're like, is this normal? Should we be doing this? Because it's only a 2.5 hour ride compared to like the usual 3.5 to 4 hours. But we're like, no, let's just do this because we have to make sure that we're fueling for the run. And it did start to get warm towards the end of the ride, so I was making sure I was drinking my water. I also added more Noon electrolyte tablets to make sure that I'm upping my sodium intake. And oh my goodness, did I feel a big difference during my run. Thought it was going to be a 25-minute easy run, but turns out I was supposed to run it at target race pace, and so I was like, oh shoot, like didn't realize I was going slower than typical. So I managed to pick up the pace, and I actually felt really good that I managed to actually control my breathing all throughout the run, and it was super warm out, so I'm pretty impressed with how that run felt. Note to self and tips for any beginner triathletes: stay on top of that nutrition, even though it feels like you're just eating so much and you feel like you don't need to, especially when the ride feels so easy. You are actually fueling for the run, and when you feel like you have so much energy for that run, that means you are fueling right. So this was actually one of the more successful long rides I think to date. So I got to make sure that we do the same next week and the week after up until race day. It is a long run day and it's gonna be another late one. It's currently 11:36, so I'm about to head out in around 10 minutes or so. We had a little bit of a late start and I'm actually planning to meet up with Kian after his long run, and he went off to start it a little bit earlier than me. He's scheduled for, I think 32 or 34K. So I'm trying to time it right so that way we can finish around the same time. That being said, because it's gonna be a little bit warmer out today, if it's anything like yesterday, because it was quite warm during my run, I'm actually gonna come prepared with this vest. The last time I wore this vest was actually while I was marathon training because I needed all the things with me when it comes to hydration and nutrition because it doesn't all fit in my pockets. I'm gonna be proactive and bring some water with electrolytes because I know that's something I need because I sweat a lot when I'm running. I've got a tablet of electrolytes in this 500-meter flask that's in one side. I've got my phone, and then since I'm meeting Kian up at a cafe after, I brought a sweater just in case I get cold after my run. Today's run is gonna be 75 minutes. I believe it's all in zone 2. So I'm just gonna keep it easy. I'm not gonna push the pace, just at a comfortable effort. I think today's focus is really just kind of hone in mentally and make sure that, you know, I either distract myself and observe all the surroundings around me, or, you know, just kind of focus on some positive self-talk, because since Ironman doesn't allow you to listen to music or wear any headphones of any sort, I'm gonna practice trying to do that on today's run. So I'm gonna put some shoes on and then start this run.